Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
Welcome to the Not Watching Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce
and Marcus Hurley.
We're a bit late doing this, but a lot of the outlets have done their list of the year. But I don't know, if Disney insist on putting out like one of the biggest franchise installments at Christmas, I needed a certain amount of time to dwell on it and figure out if it was my favourite film of the year. And we did a huge podcast about that last time, or a few weeks ago. I can't remember in what sequence this is all coming out. But to cut to the chase, it was definitely my favourite movie of the year. But we're not going to focus on that. Instead, we're going to talk about some other films that we liked. So, who wants to begin?
We'll start at 5 and go to 1, right?
If you've assembled it in that kind of order, I certainly have. If I might fill it in with some other stuff that's in my top 10. If you guys mention stuff that I've got in mind, so
I've got honourable mentions and guilty pleasures.
I've got a list of just lots of things. I didn't realise how many films came out that I'd watched and enjoyed.
Yeah, it was a massive list. And I was looked at it 20 minutes ago. Weeks ago in preparation for this.
I literally thought it was just going to be like, I've only got a few of these. It'll be quite easy. Oh no, that was 20. Oh, that was 27. Oh.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help when Netflix are putting out like one every week as well.
Yeah.
And
Bright.
I think I totaled about almost 70 films I saw last year that came out last year.
Shitballs.
It's fucking nuts.
Cool.
What a machine,
and that's
Rob.
with like really cutting down on my cinema visiting, because I sort of have tried to knock that on the head a bit, just going to watch everything. I'm going to be skipping a lot of the Oscar bait, I think, until later in the year.
Okay.
So expect some much belated reviewage later on when I finally get to see 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and all that sort of stuff.
I would certainly recommend it. I've heard.
Okay.
Cool.
I've heard nothing.
Yeah, I've heard similar things. That is actually out now. So
that's why I recommend it. Anyway, we're not doing reviews of films now. We're doing stuff from next year. Who would like to start?
I'm not sure I actually have a number 5. I have 3 films.
Okay, I have a number 5.
Okay.
Go on then.
My number 5 is going to be a film called Life.
Oh, that's one of mine.
Oh, okay.
That's one of mine.
Oh, okay, excellent. Good. Go, I'm glad. This is the sci-fi thing in a space station around Earth.
Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, and others.
Yes.
I do think it's ultimately flawed, but I loved the ending, and I loved most of it the way through. It's the kind of thing that it reminds me of films from the 70s that on kind of the 80s, bit conspiracy and a bit dark and twisted, and you don't really know where it's going to go, and then holy fuck, it goes there.
Yep.
And somebody you thought would. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but there are things that happen. How can I word it without spoiling it?
Things what happened in a film.
Things what happened in the film. There were some explosive performances, definitely.
I saw it.
Oh, right, okay.
And it was great. And I don't think many people saw it. I'm very glad somebody else has brought it up. I think we spoke about it last year.
Yeah, that was a great film.
But yeah, there needs to be more of that, I think, for me anyway. That's the kind of shit that I want to go and see at the cinema.
As a one-off tale as well, it's almost felt like an episode of like the Outer Limits or the Twilight Zone, but with a full budget to realise it. You can almost see this as part of like an anthology, almost like a...
That would be great.
That would
be really good. Yeah, so that's my number 5.
Cool. All right. Since you both rate that film, I'm going to mention my number 5. Mm-hmm. And my number 5, I've been kind of... I had my top 4 nailed, like solid. I wasn't sure on the order of them, but 5 has been changing a lot. And I've decided at the last minute that my number 5 is John Wick Chapter 2.
Ooh. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, because it sort of took the madness of the first film and then kind of just massively exploded it and did like loads of mad world building. And by the end of it, I thought, wow, it almost felt like it was the Matrix, you know, like it was just so stylized and weird. Yeah, they really swung for the fences with that, and I really loved it.
Are we? If people's ones cross over, are we mentioning it now? Because we all,
you can mention that it's yours too. But
for me, just do it. After much soul searching, weirdly enough, that has come in possibly at my number 1.
Oh right, okay.
Weirdly,
I've already mentioned my number 1.
But it's just
I've
something.
Not seen it, so
it's something about the film. It's sort of like when people talk about a film that sparks the magic of childhood and all that sort of stuff. It's strange how an uber violent action film should do something like that, but it really does remind me of a style of cinema that seemed lost to me. It was like going home it was a massive. I've mentioned many times my love for the 80s, 90s, possibly early 2000s Hong Kong cinema, which doesn't exist anymore. That genre is gone. It's wiped out when Hong Kong went back to China. The film industry is not what it was. They've made films and they felt different. You know, post Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the industry has not been the same. And this film just felt like someone travelled in a DeLorean, bringing, John Woo from the 90s with him and made a film. This is and it's everything I've been hoping for a cinema experience, a film. And bearing in mind there was already a film out, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as that. I left that cinema grinning like an absolute bastard, and I still do every time I watch it. It's something about it. I love it. I love the world. I can't wait to see more of it. I can't get enough. It's ridiculous. It is the new Matrix for me, sadly. But,
Yeah, and we're getting a TV show and a third movie as well. So
I'm happy as a pig in shit.
Yes, the TV show looks great, but we'll get to that, I think.
Yeah.
It's not going to be out this year, is it?
Probably not, but I'd say that 2 did a good enough job to make me excited about a thing and not cynical about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Anyway.
Cool, alright. So let's do your number 5 then, Marcus, while you're on a roll.
My number 5 then has to be, I think I've gone with this, The Handmaiden.
Oh, you see, that's the one that I just pushed out of my top 5 and replaced it with John Wick 2.
I have to admit, I was torn between Wonder Woman, which was my number 5 for ages. But I find The Handmaiden was more of because I can enjoy, Wonder Woman. It was an amazing film. It's just edged out, I think, for me. But The Handmaiden was such a beautiful film. And this is such it's another old school style cinema, which I haven't seen and experienced in so long. So I guess, which is weird. But for me, that was number 5.
Okay.
No, it almost made my top 5 as well. It was such a beautiful film, but I think overall, when I was just like, I found it challenging. I liked the twists and turns. It was probably the most twisty movie. Oh, I don't know, maybe, kind of. It was definitely in my wheelhouse. I loved how some of the scenes were composed, so they looked beautiful, and then you realise there was actually a reason for them staging things that way. And it just came together wonderfully.
So
Park Chan-wook remains one of the best and most exciting directors today, I think.
I may have to watch that again. It was
really good.
I wouldn't say it's good fun, but it's interesting.
It's a good wholesome family movie.
Absolutely,
it's a good romp.
Yeah. All right, Ian. Then go on. What's next for you?
Get Out.
We're still figuring this out at the time.
No, I've got mine. My number 4 is Get Out.
Awesome.
Nice.
I do think my top 4 are so close together. You could just roll a 4-sided dice and pick any one of them, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, Get Out. It's a style of movie that I really enjoy, where the twists are supremely unpleasant and remind me of stuff from the 70s and 80s that were kind of niche things that became cult things. But I liked that this became a massive thing very quickly, undoubtedly for a variety of reasons. But what I really liked about it was the story. The writing was beautiful. And I would like to see more people doing this kind of thing. Can I say I'd like to see a sequel? I probably could, but it's one of those ones.
I think almost like not a reboot, but another story in a similar style, in a different setting.
Yes.
You could take it so much further.
Or the kind of, like Unbreakable and any other films that may have come out recently that are kind of related to Unbreakable, where it's they're kind of set in the same universe where they kind of reference it and stuff. And I mean, a sequel would just be ridiculous. It would become The Purge.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. And I don't mind the Purge movies; they're okay.
They're fun, but I know what you mean. It would just,
Oh, it's this again. Yeah.
Funny enough, that was that just got edged out on one of my number 5s. It was my number 5 for a while.
It was my number 5 for a little while too. It's just that number 5. It's just been. It's definitely.
It's difficult.
When we've done a top 8. God's sake.
Yeah. But then it would be a top 12.
Yeah, true.
Well, yeah, I was thinking of top 10. But we do the telly stuff as well, and it would just go on all fucking night, all week.
That's all right. We're happy to be here, Rob. If you're not, Jesus.
Yeah. Let's make it an epic podcast. 5 hours.
All right. Okay then. Get Out. I'm totally with you there. It was awesome, and definitely came out at a good time as well. And. Yeah, just the whole reveals of it. It was the twists and turns, and just the fact that he made humour out of just stuff that is like real. Yeah, it was cool. Okay, so my number 4 is Logan.
Ooh.
Yes. Wow, that's disappointing.
It's been in my top 5 all year. It was certainly a fitting send off for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine after 17 years. I think he was playing him for. Yeah. I think because it kind of did go a little bit into superhero convention at the end, kind of kept it away from slightly higher up for me. But I did love the way it was done. I liked the fact that you could see the consequence of the claws. I liked all the stuff. Patrick Stewart was really good in this film as well. And yeah, I'm guessing from your tone that this probably features elsewhere.
Go on, Marcus. What you got?
No, for me, it's my it's actually my number 2.
Same with me, mate. That's because we know our shit.
I just thought it was absolutely, without mincing my words in any way, shape, or form, fucking beautiful.
It was.
I just thought it was glorious. It was like, I mean, I've just seen the Logan Noir come up on my now TV, and I want to check that out because I want to see what a black and white cut of it looks like.
That's what a beautiful idea that is.
I haven't seen it. I've seen it. I think I've seen it once more. I think I saw it twice in the cinema, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it still had a profound effect on me. It's still in my psyche. I still sometimes find myself thinking, shit, that was a good film.
Yeah.
In moments,
I certainly hear what you're saying about the ending, Rob. And Wonder Woman, I don't know if that's going to come up, but Wonder Woman suffers from the same fate where it's 2/3, oh my God, comic book stuff can be amazing. And then the third where you go, it's a comic book thing. And that's okay. I'm not dismissing that. It's a comic book movie. There has to be a massive hero fight at the end. But I thought Logan took longer to get there. And while there are certainly some conventions within it, it did its very best to bend them over and stick 3 claws up. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Which I thought was great. And hurrah to Deadpool for opening that door.
It's paved the way for following the comic book lore where the character of Wolverine actually was killed off, and the X-23 character is now Wolverine. So Wolverine in the comics is actually the girl, female X-23. So
I'm going to reserve judgment on any kind of sort of continuation of.
Well, they've already said that they're
because
looking at a Wolverine film with her just to follow the comic line, not necessarily with the same girl, but with the same character.
It would be
might
nice
older.
if it could be her. She was awesome. Christ, she was awesome.
This was all before the Disney acquisition,
Bit squeaky,
so we don't know.
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah, and they're curling out the X-Men Dark Phoenix next year.
I don't know about that.
No.
I'm going to be a mug and watch it, but only because I have no expectations of that film whatsoever.
Did you say no or low?
My only expectations are that the 20th Century Fox logo will start at the start, and the credits will be at the end, and there may be some X-Men.
After the Disney one, perhaps.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. So we got. Shall I do one? Whose turn is it now? I've lost track.
So that was number 4. You did.
And yeah, we blatted through a few of them because Logan was all on our list.
Yeah. So Marcus, have you got number 4?
My number 4. Yeah, my number 4 actually is Blade Runner 2049.
Okay, that's my number 3.
I think I wasn't sure where to put these films, so I kind of just went with my emotions, which is the best way really to enjoy them, I guess. You know, reviews can say everything to you, but at the end of the day, it's how you digest the film and how it makes you feel. Number 4 doesn't mean that I enjoyed it any less than The Handmaiden or any less than Logan. It's one of the few films where I've said this in the previous podcast, I sat until the credits completely finished because I wanted to absorb every single bloody second of this film. The end score had me in tears. It was just Hans Zimmer's take on the Vangelis theme. I loved the pacing of the film in general. I loved the callbacks, the throwbacks to the original without it feeling as though they were just trying to hit the beats and do ha ha ha. I was waiting for the moment where Harrison Ford was going to make a joke about noodles, which related to the first film, and that didn't happen. And I was really happy.
Yeah,
I was really happy they didn't pander to it. And also, there's no spoilers, he didn't kill off his character, which I expected. It just felt like such a good film. It felt like being back in that world, and having watched them back to back, one of the best experiences I've had. I can't believe those films are so far apart from each other.
It actually kind of highlighted some moments from the first movie that kind of almost made the first movie better in a way. I think that the fact that they keep the thing nebulous throughout is good too, to preserve that legacy.
And there was I mentioned there was a little Easter egg in there with a certain photograph which shows a certain vehicle, which, although cut from the canon, I thought was an interesting little throwback. There's a photograph in there. I don't know. We're not really. Well, it's still out for a while, so I'm not really going to spoil it. But there's a photograph in there, and there's a vehicle in that photograph, and that vehicle is from the scene at the end, which was then removed when they're driving off.
Oh yeah, which was outtakes from The Shining.
Was it?
Yeah, when they're driving their car along, they just went, we need some of this, so they gave them some B-roll.
Oh, wow.
From The Shining. Stanley Kubrick sorted them out.
And it continues to humble into all of the lore. But yeah, I thought bits like that were
fans.
I thought bits like that were quite nice. You know, I saw it and I immediately went, oh, yeah. But yeah, it just felt so good. It didn't feel as though I was in there for too long. There are some films where I felt like my butt cheeks have turned to stone, but when it was wrapping up, I thought, oh wow, it feels like it's finishing. I didn't really want it to.
No, I had a really good time with that too. Like I said, made the first film better for me because I watched the first film prior to seeing the new one, and I was always a bit kind of meh about it. I mean, I love the world building, but I don't know, it never really hooked me. But I really enjoyed what Denis Villeneuve did with the new one. Just the fact that he didn't fuck it up is probably a good enough achievement.
It's amazing. That, to me, is stunning. I just can't believe it felt like the same creator and the same mindset. And it was just like he went off, took a break, and then brought out a sequel like 2 years later.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. Anyway.
Cool.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so that's 3 for me and 4 for you, Blade Runner 2049. Ian, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is The Girl with All the Gifts.
Oh, bloody hell. I forgot that came out this year. Did it?
I'm fairly sure it did.
I think it came out in America this year, so I'll give you that. I think it was the end of...
it came out in America first and then this year.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever, mate. If it was a film you loved this year...
It was a film that I loved this year.
Ian?
Most definitely.
Ian, this is all about you. To hell with the critics.
It's all
to
about
hell with us.
Team, really.
To hell with us, though. No, it's all about you. What you love.
It
could be Smurfs. We won't judge you. Could be 50 Shades Darker. We won't judge you.
Yeah. Annoyingly, I'm trying to name drop, but I can't find the name. Damn it. It took that particular genre and took it somewhere that made it not 28 Days Later. It wasn't a Dawn of the Dead type stuff. It had some really great performances, and I really loved the ending. So, it ticked all the boxes for me. That's all I can say. Really.
I'm trying to remember that. It had a really good, I love the way that they rendered the post-apocalypse, where it was kind of like all overgrown and just it had a very Last of Us feel.
It was also the kind of weird school bits as well. And it was just like little things. I found that really intriguing. And then there was the fact that they seemed okay, but then they had this almost piranha-like reflex whenever sort of blood or anything came about. And they were all done
up like Lecter's children, which was... Yeah.
It's the only time that I've really got on board with the whole sort of conscious zombie type thing. Because they were basically the spawn of turned mothers, weren't they? That's the way it all... I think that was the setup, if I remember it right. The mothers had been infected, or in the womb or something.
Possibly, yeah.
That's how they... I think that's the fiction of it. I can't remember, but I found that all quite interesting, like the origin of how that all came to be. And the way that like there was this kind of... There was like a faction that had kind of gone feral, and just kind of the interactions with them, that was quite cool. And the sacrifice at the end, it's all quite it's all quite bleak, really.
Yeah.
Well, it's dystopian,
for some reason,
really, truly, to its core.
Yeah, but it kind of came together really well. It wasn't too depressing considering how bleak it was, but yeah, cool. All right, okay. Marcus, do you want to do your number 3?
My number 3 is Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Only because I just felt that, as fantastic as a film it was, the other two just had a bigger effect on me, like from the start, during and everything. Yeah,
Rogue One,
Logan
mean, and Force Awakens.
Yeah, Logan and John Wick.
Oh, the other two in your list. Sorry.
They just had more of an effect on me, so that's why they're higher up in my personal list. But this film was a lot of fun. I mean, you've talked about it, we've talked about it, we've all talked about it. We all know. Let's not beat the Imperial drum anymore. But yeah. Woohoo!
Yeah, all I'll add to that is that I watched it a second time last week, and any reservations whatsoever I had with it were extinguished. I just love the whole message of it, and I'm so hopeful for the new direction that Star Wars has pivoted.
It is crazy how clearer it becomes once you know once you've muddled through the initial thing of what it is, and you watch it a second time, knowing that I think you said it. You spot things earlier on, and you spot the setups of things earlier on, and the reasons and the responsibilities and stuff. And it's just so much to process. It was all so jumbled in my head. When I sat down and watched it a second time, I was like, "Oh, holy fuck!" I completely forgot how awesome it begins. With that awesome X-wing action and stuff. So cool. You could be cynical about it and say that they've gone this way specifically so that they can just keep making these films forever. Which is true, but in the old format, as a little green dude would say, page turners, they were not. Because eventually you're going to run out of siblings. Are we going to be following Luke's great-great-great-great-grandchild who ends up being Jar Jar Binks by some weird Ouroboros? It's how far can you go with it, to be honest?
Well, hopefully Kylo will get his in the next one, and that will be
the universe
end of it.
Is a lot bigger, and I want to see more of it.
Yeah, that was honestly part of Rian Johnson's decision to decide. Well, it's past January the 15th now, so spoilers are fair game. To make her a nobody just makes it better because it makes it more realistic. If it can ever be.
Well, so there's a point I made. A lot of people are complaining about usage of the Force, and I think I said it to a comment that you made. I said, there are a lot of people that are quite adept at fighting without being formally trained.
Yeah.
They just understand it. There's an element of being a prodigy. Prodigy means you have a natural understanding and affinity towards something, and all training would do is just someone giving you their opinion to show that. So, that's it. Don't need it. It's done. Let's see where it goes.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I'm just going to quickly do my number 2, and then we'll end on your number 1, Ian. But my number 2 is Dunkirk.
It's all covered now, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, you got round to that, did you?
I did. I bought it. I bought the Blu-ray. I just can't watch it enough.
Really?
It's a masterpiece.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, bloody hell.
I know.
It's pretty good. I mean, I appreciate what he did with time and everything, but for me, just seeing that in 70mm IMAX was just nothing short of virtual reality without the glasses, as I think Commode put it. But no, it really was just so immersive. The soundtrack is incredible. I still listen to it. The way that it's just ticking for literally an hour and a half and then suddenly stops and you're like, whoa, fuck.
Also,
it's just
the use of practical effects. I've seen the behind the scenes shit now, so you can doze off for a moment if you like. There's minimal CG stuff. The planes were real. The people on the beach were real, and they used cardboard cutouts of photo characters in the distance. There's never any faces of Germans shown, so there's no humanisation of the enemy. Yeah,
that's
they're
true.
Always
I
kind
remember
of blurred
that.
or a bit. They're never clearly in focus. The enemy, so they're always mysterious. And there's if you have what I would recommend the film, Marcus. No,
it's definitely on my list. I'm glad it wasn't because it would have been on this list as well.
Once you've seen it, there's a guy who's done a short, compressed, old black and white without sound version of it. The visuals just fit perfectly with that, with a nice little vignette around the side. And it looks great. Yeah. It's a proper war film without preaching politics or anything. It's just about the soldiers.
Yeah.
It's about the people, not just the soldiers. Yeah, it's great.
Nice.
Cool. Well, that's some cool crossover there. A few bits that aren't in each other's lists almost were. I'm quite looking forward to aggregating this together and coming up with our definitive ranking combined because I don't know what's going to come out on top at all. But yeah, that's our top 5 films each.
Sorry, Marcus, what was
I've got a couple of views.
My number 1 was John Wick.
Oh, of course.
Chapter 2.
John Wick 2.
Yeah.
Which, whilst not, technically in the same pantheon as something like Dunkirk, just had a kind of, as I said before, profound effect on me.
It's horses
made me
for
go
courses,
a bit wibbly.
I have to say that I also bought Blade Runner 2049, and I just could not get through it. I lasted about halfway through, and then I gave up.
Really?
So yeah, I mean,
but I just think that's the beauty of cinema, though, because
it is. It's all subjective at the end of the day.
But that's the thing. I mean, I'm off. It's no secret. I'm pretty much known as the comic booky guy on this podcast. You know, I love a good Marvel movie. I love a good DC movie. Yet to make one. A few are okay, but you know, but something like Blade Runner kind of goes before that. I used to watch that when I was younger, and it's just, I don't know, something about the world. I think I'm a bit of a cyberpunk noirist at heart. So whenever something like that comes up, I just can't help it. It's something in my soul just resonates, and I think that might be what I get a little bit from bits like John Wick and Logan as well. There's a weird sort of, I mean, Logan is almost like a Western. John Wick is kind of like a Western in a sense. Yeah. That is the one guy and it's justice. Whereas this just feels, you know, Blade Runner reminded me of an old Japanese pacing or Swedish pacing, which I also enjoy because I don't know, maybe I'm like an action junkie old man at heart or something. Who knows? I'm just odd.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a genre fan as much as I am a film fan. And I think, like, my top 4, at least, I feel like I just lent a certain amount of importance to those films, and that's why those 4 just couldn't move. The order changed within them, but all 4 of them they wouldn't budge. And so that's why number 5 was like, what do I do? Do I just go for something that was technically best, like The Handmaiden? Yeah. Do I go for something I had a ball with, like John Wick? Or do I mean, Get Out was in there for a moment of, like, cultural significance, I guess. But there were 3 others that were in contention. So if we just want to run through, like, a few sort of noteworthy, didn't quite make it the cut. Split was one of the best times I had in the cinema this year. Yep. The realisation at the end of that just fucking rocked my world. And I couldn't say a word about it to anyone except go and see it.
And by Christ, thank you for not ruining that one as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, well, yeah, I owed you that one at least.
It took you nearly 20 years to pay it back. Jesus.
Yeah. Just by not saying anything.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Another one, surprisingly, of all the Marvel films that came out this year, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is probably the one that stayed with me the longest. It's got a very sweet message about sort of fatherhood and, like, stepfatherhood, which I can relate to massively. And Matt had it on the other day, and when I came home, and I just ended up sitting down and watching it because I was just like, this is a beautiful bit of cinema. That, and finally, the only other one I wanted to call out was Brawl in Cell Block 99, which I watched on John of previously of this parish. His recommendation. It's by the guy that directed Bone Tomahawk. Forget his name off the top of my head. Which is a very grisly film, but nowhere near as grisly as Brawl in Cell Block 99, which has some of the most bone-crunching destruction I have ever seen. Vince Vaughn is basically this quite sort of tough, bald geezer with a mad tattoo on the back of his head who's just has a normal job. You think, the first time you see him, you think he's gonna flip out and kill somebody. But he's like, no, he's just very honourable, very considered and thoughtful in his actions. Ends up getting involved in some shady things and gets in prison. And basically sort of, it's very deliberately paced. And like the final kind of hour of the film is kind of his journey into the pits of hell. And everything you can imagine him having to do to get there. So I would recommend that. Some of the effects, it's all very practical in camera, like old school in a way that is like, if they focused on it for like a little bit longer, it would look silly, but it's just kind of, it's just, it just had a big effect on me. It's on Amazon. I don't think it's on Prime yet, but it's definitely worth checking out. So that's my like, recommendation of films that you might have missed,
Okay.
So,
nice.
From this year. Guys, go ahead if you've got any yourself.
Have you got any, Marcus?
I don't know. I couldn't make up my mind. I mean, I had a load of fun ones, which I really enjoyed. One was Kingsman: The Golden Circle, which, because it was just a hilarious ride. Sometimes you go to the cinema, it's great to watch a beautiful piece of cinema, but sometimes you just want to be entertained thoroughly. And I left that cinema just feeling like I got off a roller coaster, and it was that much fun.
Yeah.
Could have had my hands in the air at some point. Same with Spider-Man: Homecoming. I really enjoyed that. I had Guardians of the Galaxy 2 on there as well. Had the Lego Batman movie as well for just a strange.
Oh yeah, we went and saw that for my birthday.
Yeah. I called it after because I missed it
year.
then. Yeah.
Oh yeah. This year it's Black Panther, by the way. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. True. I also had, as an honourable mention, you mentioned Get Out. Another one which I felt was in a similar genre and almost made a number 5 was A Cure for Wellness.
Oh, with Dane DeHaan.
Yeah, and that also reminded me of the kind of weird 70s kind of films, almost 70s, 80s. Almost like there's a weird setup and he's trying to discover what's going on, and then it goes weird and it goes very, very weird and he can't escape. Almost Prisoner-esque, like Patrick McGowan. He goes to this island and there's this town, it's all very strange, and it all just gets worse and worse and worse, and you don't quite understand. And he's a complete dick, so it's hard to, he's like the city boy, he's almost a bit city boy trader sort of feeling. So you don't initially like him. You're like, okay, you deserve whatever happens. But when it starts happening, you're almost like, no, you got to get out of there, mate. Just get the hell out of Dodge. So I really enjoyed that. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. It goes crazy, but it's worth a watch. Let me know what you think. I think it should be. It's been out for a while. It might be on Netflix even. I'm not sure now, but.
Oh, if it is, I'll definitely check that out.
I think it's streaming bullshit. Okay, fair enough.
Okay,
I will wait for.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too long.
Oh, I think it's still available. It's still to buy.
Okay,
so yeah,
it'll probably be on Now TV soon, I reckon. Then because they're Sky Cinema, so sort of linked.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Sorry, have you got any more, Marcus?
Well, that was kind of it, really. And then, had Kong Skull Island as well as a big, crazy,
the only
mental.
One that I had.
These are all of the ones that are like.
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, these are all the films that just like you watch them and you go, yeah, that's just nuts.
Yeah, and
I
everybody
really
looked like they had a great time. The visuals were amazing.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really seen anything with Brie Larson until then, and then saw Room as well. Not The Room, the good one. Excellent.
And another one that kind of made it in there because I enjoyed it and it helped me with a small issue I had was It.
Oh yeah. Coldrophobia.
Well, man walks into a cinema, doesn't like clowns, watches the film about a killer supernatural clown. Goes.
This has been the Not Watching Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself, Marcus and Ian talk about video games and virtual reality on the Not Playing Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can email us at notwatchingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notwatchingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya! While Ian takes care of that, I can exclusively reveal that our combined movie of 2017 is Logan.
Wow.
I've just been totting up some points, like if I award like 5 to what you said was number 1
and
go down. So Logan, followed by Dunkirk, followed by The Last Jedi, followed by John Wick 2, followed by Blade Runner 2049. That's our top 5. Cool.
That's
all
not
right.
bad, isn't it?
Yeah, not bad at all. It's pretty decent.